So I was talking to my mom today, and I want to shout out to my mom for a second, man. My mom has been instrumental in helping me through tough situations in my life. And it never fails, man. Whenever life gets heavy for anybody, you want your mama.
Amen.
When you get to that point in your life to where it feels unbearable, you want your mama. And I haven't known that feeling before until I needed her. And she was there. So I want to say, Mama, I appreciate you. Your mother is the one person in the world that no matter what you do, she won't judge you. That's the power of a woman.
Yeah.
And tonight, obviously we're going to talk about the Supreme Court situation, but they're powerful beings. And I want to just give a kudos to Ms. Voncella Talbert because she's been everything I needed to grow in life while doing it by herself. Although I don't advocate anybody trying to do it by herself. She had no choice, but, she's done a phenomenal job, of raising, me and my brothers and sisters. And, I want to give a kudos to her in this moment right now because she's been with me through some tough times. And, you need the people in your life, Keegan, you can count on, bro. You need people in your life you can count on. That's a real thing. People that is when life gets tough, when the things feel like they're mounting against you, you're going to want those people in your corner, Keegan. And you're going to want them to, be there when you need them. But I want to read something we talked about today, man. She said, worry is a conversation you have with yourself about things you can't control. Prayer is a conversation you have with God about things he can change.
That's a ball.
Little nuggets like that.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm taking that home. That's a ball.
What we got to complain for? There's no point. Give it to God. That's what I'm learning in my life, Ivan. Don't matter how hard it really gets. If God is in control and I got faith in him, then what's the problem?
Yeah.
I can continue to live a fruitful life, an abundant life, even through the storm, even through the rain, because God is there. How you feeling today, Keegan?
I'm good, bro.
Let me say this real quick. I thought I was the most interesting man in the world, but here comes Ivan with the hair. Tim, make sure you zoom in on him. Ivan, you got your hair out today.
Yeah, man. It's not on purpose.
Not on purpose?
Not on purpose.
You can do it on purpose?
No.
It's straight, bro. It's pretty nice. I like it. You got it like combed over and everything like that.
Nah, I was just coming out them braids, man.
Let that man be Frederick Douglass, man.
Yeah, but I figured I would try to, do my Don King thing.
There you go.
I don't know about that one.
Frederick Douglass.
Don King, yeah, I would go Frederick Douglass. I would do Don King.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you need to get up out that chair. If you talking about Don King. Nah, but Don King was a goat though.
He
was a snake, but he was a
best
goat.
promoter you ever witnessed,
absolutely.
man.
He was a snake, but he was a goat.
Yes.
And a lot of our I know it's kind of off subject, but a lot of our titans always get labeled as time goes. Because Don King put on Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. Do you know how big the Thriller was? You know how big that was in that time, though. In that time frame, he had Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, two of the most transcendent athletes to ever walk the face of the earth. Yeah. He promoted some of the biggest fights, but
in the international
his personal agenda and motive will get always. And that's what happens to a lot of black men, that their personal struggles always seem to get the brunt of the spotlight versus some of the amazing things that they've done. Because Don King done some amazing things. Say what you want to say, because Tyson's star power in the 90s was unprecedented. It was unbelievable. I don't know how we start talking about Don King when we're supposed to be talking about Kevin Durant, but I guess we'll start talking about Kevin Durant.
Let's do that.
So right now it's Thursday, and probably by the time y'all see this, it won't Kevin Durant probably have a landing spot. Where he going?
Oklahoma City.
You bugging. Go ahead, Keith. Stop talking. I think it's the hair. Go ahead. You bugging.
Oh, man. There's a lot of options. I think the team that's willing to part with the most is going to win them. I think it's simple as that. I think for the Nets, it's a business decision. Whoever can part ways with the most assets is who will get them. That could be Phoenix. It could be Boston. It could be the Heat. If I was the Nets, I wouldn't want him in the Eastern Conference if I was the Nets. But at this point, with what you can get for him, it doesn't matter where he goes because you're going to be in contention at some point in time.
Let me ask you a question. Is the NBA, you can say that too before you answer the question, but is the NBA what is the NBA turning into now? Because now we're starting to see, things like this happen. This is historical. A player acts out of a contract with 4 years still left on his deal. What is the NBA turning into something different? With this happening, is it because it feels like drama?
Oh, it is.
It feels like it feels like a TV show.
It is
soap opera.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I like this element. Obviously, we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I love this element of the game, man. But Ivan, what does this do? Are we going to start to see now a true player-driven league now?
Well, I definitely want to speak to that point. I think an interesting location for Kevin Durant would be the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know if Dallas has the assets to be able to obtain them, but I believe that would be an interesting destination because he has Texas roots from where he played in school, and that's going to put him with another top player that we have in the game right now. So I think that's an interesting place for him, especially, to echo what Keegan was saying, I don't think keeping him in the Eastern Conference is what the Nets would want to do. But to speak to the point of a player-driven league, it's been a player-driven league since 2010.
Come on.
When LeBron James created an absolute whole orchestration of where am I going to be signed at?
He did.
And when he did that, he let the league know then. A lot of owners were offended. I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers owner was offended that this kid could hop on television, tell you that he's leaving your team, or not tell you that he won't leave your team because he won't return your phone calls, and then have not only New York, but New Jersey, I think Miami was in the mix, and I want to say L.A. We're all wondering about who was going to get this guy. And then you go on national television.
That's crazy.
You created a show about this. You go on national television to tell all, 4 teams no and 1 team, hey, I'm coming there. And the team that you were currently with, the owner, as well as some of your teammates, had no clue. So, yeah, it's been a player-driven league since that date, since he actually made that monumental I forget what the name of the special was.
The decision.
The decision.
The decision.
So now these guys are going to start echoing that. I mean, look at what Bradley Beal just did. Bradley Beal just said, no, I'm not going to take the last year of my deal to get $253 million for a guy that we can't even call a top 25 player.
He's top 25.
Easy, Ivan.
See, he's
top 25.
Pipe down, Ivan. Pipe down.
Is he really top 25?
Can we top 25? Bradley Beal, you don't. I'm not. Go ahead.
How many All-Star appearances, Steve? How many All-Star appearances?
Let me look it up. You bucking, by the way. He's not top 25. Name 25.
Bradley Beal is a good player. He's not a supermax kid.
Well, no, he might not be super max of the league, but he is to the Washington Wizards. He's been their stalwart with John Wall before he left since he's been in the league. So part of that deal was for what he's done for them by staying there and staying loyal through bad, trash years. I think part of that money was for that as well. But Bradley Beal is legit.
And it looks like our league doesn't learn anything.
Yeah.
Because anytime you do this with one of their guys, guess what ends up happening? You end up having to blowing up the team in 3 years. So we'll watch Washington Wizards have to blow up the team in 3 years.
But what they have right now, though? What do they have right now?
3-time All-Star? So he's a 3-time All-Star. Come on, Ivan.
But
3-time All-Star.
But let's go back to the point that you made about player-driven league.
Go ahead.
Player-driven league. Him getting his deal was not about being player-driven. I think to your point about guys dictating where they go, only a few can do that.
Yeah.
That's a superstar characteristic.
It is.
Only a few can
That's
do that.
good, Keegan.
Yeah. The league can't do that. LeBron, KD, Steph.
Yeah. That might be the only
Giannis?
Giannis, yeah. They can come
Those
in.
guys can do that. And they're probably going to try to create other people to come with them to make that work so they can compete for a championship. But the entire league, that's not what's going to happen. But I'll say this also, too, Ivan. I think one thing that we do is we'll look at this and say, you know what? These players are just destroying things. Well, there are some front office guys who mess up teams, too.
Absolutely.
The Sacramento Kings are a disaster, and not because of players. The New York Knicks are a disaster, not because of players. So I would say that also, too, front office guys are not great at their job either, but we don't talk about them. You know, so I won't put it all on the players.
And that's what are they destroying? What are they destroying? Think about what are they destroying? A slave mentality, a plantation of the owners having all the control over the talent, the actual people who's making the actual money.
Yeah.
And LeBron and more players did this, but LeBron is obviously the big fish here. Oh, ding, 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 I got a lot of power. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. So my point is that, yeah, let's change and break down the system. I like the fact, because isn't the NBA more interesting? Aren't the casual fan who don't even watch basketball? I heard somebody say, okay, he's leaving. I know they don't watch basketball like that. Is what I'm saying. It's more interesting because the player has more control, because people don't turn on the TV to see a Jerry Krause. They turn on the TV to see a Michael Jordan.
I agree. I do believe that you can give that power to the wrong people. Because say what you want, Kyrie damaged something.
How many times have a GM traded a player? How many journeymen are in the NBA? So that's what I'm saying. I'll give Kyrie whatever. I'll give Kyrie the brunt of this individual, his part in the destruction of the Brooklyn Nets. He gets that. We'll give him that. But I don't want to use him as a wide example, because how many times have GMs made awful trades after awful trade after awful trade and say they like a player, then trade them the next day? They sitting on the bench and they don't know they've been traded.
No question.
So that's what I'm saying. I get it, but I don't want to put Kyrie in that.
Well, the reason why I think you can't, I wouldn't do that. You're right. Don't do that. I think you're conflating two different things. But what I would say is there's a small microcosm of individuals that can do something like this. Like I said, it's a superstar play. So Kyrie is going to be a larger percentage of a small group of people who can do this. So he is hurting some people in that regard.
No question.
You know, and he figured out really quick what his value was in the streets now, right? You know, which is I think that was what he needed to see.
Yeah.
Because I think what you ride on is my talent will always outpace my antics, right? He found out he just hit a wall at that particular point. Yeah. He found that out when he couldn't get a max deal.
And I think Kyrie's convinced and convicted. I don't think he believes it's antics. I think that he thinks a different way than a lot of people, and he's done some things unconventional.
Well, Steve, you're a genius in your own mind, right?
I'm sorry. I'll be honest with you.
So my point
you
is,
don't want me to answer. I don't want to sound arrogant.
In Kyrie's mind, he's a genius, right? That don't make him one.
I think we all geniuses, though.
No, I'm with you, but my point is, he might not think it's antics, but his bubble is not the world.
Yeah, and I think he in his if I won't be in nobody's private moments, but I think he does feel the weight of that, of his decision to do that. But it does, to me, what Kyrie did set a larger precedence that players have more power than they think, because regardless, he may not have a large market, but he's going to play for the Lakers next year. You get what I'm saying? He's going to have a chance to win a title next year. So he still got the money.
We'll see.
No, what I'm saying is he still got an opportunity to be on a contending team, still be in the spotlight. So he has power, maybe not from a team saying, I want to touch you, but he has culture. Kyrie is a huge culture figure. with younger people. So, and larger, and a larger audience and people. Kyrie's a fascinating figure, and I think he understands that. And it's for Kyrie, he feels he's bigger than basketball. Because if you want to be honest, from a basketball standpoint, no matter how many antics, we're going to watch him. He knows
when
that.
when he's on the court.
Yeah, but we're going to watch him.
When he's on the court, no question.
We're going to watch him. People going to pay the ticket to go see Kyrie because he's spectacular. So that is what his power is. It may not be traditionally teams want to take a chance, but he knows that championship teams like the Lakers will always be desperate for anybody.
Well, I think he needs to leverage the power better then, because you're right. We're going to watch him if he's on the court.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can't demand X but not be on the court to prove why. You just can't do that.
No
He
question.
found out really quick that you just messed up. I got a question for you, Steve and Ivan. We keep looking at this as a Kyrie Brooklyn net issue. Did Kyrie let KD down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ivan?
This is where Kyrie, the rubber meets the road with Kyrie. This is where maturity has to set in, and you have to put your real views to the side to do your job. That's a real thing, because everybody in America has to do that. When I go to my job, when you go to your job, even when you're doing your business, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to put what you believe and your thoughts about how things should be to the side.
Yeah, no question.
Because you're getting paid for a job. It's an exchange of goods and services,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes,
you're
sir.
a great basketball player. You didn't get that contract because you're deep and you think the earth is flat.
exactly.
You got that contract to play basketball.
Facts.
Right. No,
Facts.
that's a fact.
I get social justice being there from a wider margin, but you have to take accountability that you allowed something that you believe to come in between your teammates and the goal y'all was trying to set for yourself. And you brought an all-time player there, and you might have put a stain on his image. Because guys like KD and LeBron, they got to take the brunt. They have to take the blame because Steph, LeBron, and KD are not playing to be better than guys in the league now.
Oh, no.
I'll say Giannis. They're playing for legacy. They're playing against ghosts.
Yes. That's fact.
So everything's critiqued at a different level. And even you allowing Kyrie leaving Golden State and going to Brooklyn to a flailing Kyrie who just screwed Boston. No, Cleveland, then Boston, and going there to play with him. That's a part of your legacy, KD. That's going to be a asterisk against you. So these things, so Kyrie has to take that. And I think his ego is now playing a part in all of this, because you're bringing in everybody is misguided and I'm on the right path. That's what he's on right now. He may have a lot of truth that he's saying, but it's like serving a steak on a trash can.
And when it comes to did he let KD down, honestly, I feel like they let each other down. Because I believe that he put a higher expectation on Kyrie than what he ought to. And when it was time for them to actually get on the court and play together, the three of them, before Harden was gone, it did not work. And there comes a time where self-reflection, because if you are the guy, then you got to be the guy. So me personally, I don't think we can place that blame on Kyrie. Kevin Durant has to look in the mirror, because you chose to go to that team and to play with Kyrie. These are conversations that y'all should have been having. You should have known that this could have been something that could have possibly come up. Now, nobody can predict COVID.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
nobody can predict that.
Yeah. That was a big thing too.
No one can predict COVID or earthquakes, right? However, KD got the shot because KD said, I'm going to go play ball. This is what I mean by did he let KD down, right?
Yeah.
He said, I'm going there to play with Kyrie. Brooklyn, get it right. Kyrie got that man to invest in him, social capital, and vice versa. He didn't say, I'm going to play with Harden. I'm going to play with Kyrie.
Absolutely.
Because him and Kyrie talked about it, and Kyrie said, yes, come do this with me, right? You get there. I don't care what challenge happens. You just can't check out because of some thought you might have had.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He let them down.
He did.
Yeah.
And now the difference between a KD and a LeBron will hold you accountable. KD's not that guy.
Yeah.
And I get that. I respect you got to know who you are, right? But to suggest that, I will say this. If I'm LeBron James, you saw what happened. You knew what you had in Cleveland. You had a tenuous relationship there, right? You saw what happened in Boston, and you saw what happened in Brooklyn. If you bring them to LA, the only thing you're talking about is a championship. If you don't win one, that's on LeBron James. Plain and simple, because you know what you got.
Yeah. And
you know what you got.
On the other token, you know what you got.
Yeah.
Meaning that God is talented. See, it's two. You know what you got. You might get you.
If we wasn't on camera, I'd say something right now. But go ahead,
you know what you got. What I'm saying is, it's kind of like when Ron Artest came to the Lakers. Kobe, what he had, and it ended up in Ron Artest helping them win the championship. This might end up in disaster. But here's the thing we talked about with Kobe, LeBron, and Steph. These guys are not playing to get better. They're playing for legacy.
Yeah.
And the other part of legacy is you'll do anything to get a championship. Because that change, especially for LeBron now, you're chasing the ultimate ghost. You're chasing Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You're trying to be the undisputed. See, there's
Steph
questions
Curry.
now. Right? Ivan, you seen Ivan saying anything last week. But
Chasing Steph
what
Curry.
I'm saying is there's the great debate about this.
Only for those who want LeBron to be the best. Those who know Jordan's best, there's no debate. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
But there's the great debate that's bad.
I follow you.
LeBron wants to be undisputed.
I follow you.
He wants to be unchallenged. But speaking of that,
Yeah.
I hope KD, goes to somewhere that truly values his skill set and that he can go somewhere and kill, because KD is truly one of the most remarkable wonders to ever step on the basketball court that you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
He is absolutely flawless as a basketball player
And
efficient.
And I do want to echo something. This is not a bad thing that players are running the league.
Absolutely. Come on.
Because it's been so long that they've actually been the one that was actually holding the plow. So now it's good that they actually are the person that's actually in charge and they're orchestrating now, because I think what this will ultimately do is this is going to open up more coaching jobs, more executive jobs, and more ownership as they go on to finish out their careers and doing whatever they do after basketball. So right now, I think that is a good thing that we have taken place. I don't think everybody should be participating.
But isn't this a microcosm of our struggle for equity in this country, for our fight, is that we start taking more control, that we start taking control of our narrative. Like, watching them do that is inspiring to me, because although it's messy, although it's not traditional, it's showing what you can do if you exert your power when you understand your gift.
Yes.
KD knew, listen, bro, people are waiting to give the house to him because he knows his power and he's using what we call leverage.
Well, they're going to take his contract on, and and whoever gets him got to give up the house to get him.
Absolutely.
So the course, they got to make sure he's left with something to play ball with wherever he goes. That's one. Brooklyn will be made whole in some way, shape, form, or fashion for him. So I think that I think he will land on his feet. I think Brooklyn will be fine for the future. I just wonder about Kyrie, because I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. Tap was on one in the barbershop, one of my old podcasts, and he was tearing Kyrie a new one. He was like, why are you so mad at Kyrie? I get it now. And I'm sorry. Sometimes your talent don't outpace your antics.
I ain't giving up on Kyrie yet.
Because you like the star power, and I understand that. But if you have that much track record of drama, I ain't talking about one. We had Ron Artest fighting at the Indiana Pacers in the stand. I get that, right? We got Dennis Rodman. But you have a number of different instances on the court and off the court with Kyrie. At some point, we got to say, you know what? This might not be worth it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is what Kyrie has, is it called a job?
They're contract players.
But it's a job, correct?
Yeah.
It's a job. It's a living, right?
Yeah.
People can make decisions how they feel, and nobody calls them drama, right? That's all Kyrie doing. It's not normally being, it's not something that's always done or practical, but Kyrie just saying, "Oh, I don't want to be here no more."
But he's affecting. The thing is,
I'll give you that point. I'll give you that point.
The job. Okay.
He does,
And he affecting other people.
and it does. But he still. But here's the flip side to that. Whenever they want to cut him, he has no choice. Then people don't say he's affected, because if they were to cut Kyrie, nobody would say anything. If they would have just cut Kyrie,
They
probably
kind of
can't
did when
waive
they
him.
said go shop the market.
No, what I'm saying, just period. Like if he just got cut, just a normal guy that they got.
Waive
cut,
him.
I got you.
Nobody has this conversation.
Yeah.
My point is, it's because he's doing it. It got us calling Kyrie drama. I ain't calling him crazy. I'm not saying Kyrie's not crazy. I'm just saying that we got to look at that. He's just doing something against the fray.
I don't think he's crazy. I don't think he has a mental. I think he's just a really, really self-absorbed. And I don't want. I'm going to come across.
Yeah, that's better, self-absorbed.
But I think self-absorbed. I think for you to sit back and say, that you're not going to do something. If I tell Ivan, come with me somewhere, we're going to do something together, and I don't show up, I duped you. I duped Ivan, right?
Just look at Ivan. Everybody just look at Ivan. Go ahead. We were just going to wait on you. Go ahead. Matter of fact, go ahead and pick up the phone. It's fine. No worries. Yeah, I mean, we just... Now don't look like that. Don't try to look innocent. That little white Karen innocent look. Nah, you did it, bro. Just go ahead. Man, I tell you the truth. Man.
Just Rito too, bro. By the way, but yeah, I'm just saying that. And also too, how can you do what you've done, but then ask for max money? Like at some point, you gotta look in the mirror and be like, okay. I'm not what I was. Like at some point in time, what's it going to take?
He is what he is. No, don't do that.
I'm not talking about, again, you're not just hiring a basketball player, you're also hiring a person.
Absolutely.
Hiring a person, right?
No, I'll give you that.
All that comes with it.
It
right?
does. And it's a, kind of transition. All of that comes with what Kyrie is, but I think it also makes him who Kyrie is. I think the whole package of Kyrie, because we're talking about him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's what makes it appealing. I think
talk about Trump too. That don't mean he's great, but
Trump is appealing though. Would you agree?
That don't make him great
Trump,
though. But go ahead.
But Trump is a polarizing figure.
Yes.
I mean, you say what you want to say about him. You can call him egregious, whatever you want to call him, but he's a polarizing figure.
Facts.
And he's made waves in the world that's affected a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And one of those particular things that we're going to talk about is the overturn of Roe v. Wade. Mm-hmm. Upheld for 50 years. Let me, disclaimer, we don't proclaim to speak for women because there's not a woman up here. So we have no idea the feeling that a woman feels or how this affected her. So in no way, form, or fashion are we thinking we're experts. But we do want to advocate and just have a conversation about it because it is a national conversation. So we want to just kind of weigh in, Keegan, when you heard the news, Keegan, and to a bigger conversation. This just happened already, so there's nothing much we can do about it at this very moment. Obviously, we can vote. But, does the overturning of Roe v. Wade, Keegan, is this just a singular action, or is there more coming down the pipe? Is there more overturning of more things, or things in the LGBT community? It's a lot of different things that I'm hearing that this is not the end. I heard same-sex marriage and things like that. Things are changing. Is it more coming down the pipe, or do you think this was just a singular issue?
No, there's more coming. And Clarence Thomas made that clear.
Gotcha.
That's why that's why we know that they're going to be looking at same-sex marriage, because he said so. Right now, you can also look at the science that they use to overturn Roe v. Wade. Gives them a platform to work on other rights, like saying so they use the 14th Amendment and the right to privacy to justify overturning it. I mean, they can use that for anything.
Yeah.
You can use that for same-sex marriage. You can use it for Plessy versus Ferguson. You can use it for anything you want at that particular point in time. So, yes, there's more to come with that. And I would say, no, we're not women. What I can identify with my sisters are, if you have a right taken away from you, I know what that feels like.
There you go. Come on. That's good.
So
That's
can't
good.
empathize in that regard, because when you make someone less than a person, I know what that can feel like.
Absolutely.
Because it happened to us as well. So that's why we're in the trenches with you, you know. But no, I do not claim to speak for a woman. I don't know what it really feels like to have your choice taken away from you. That's been upheld precedent after precedent. It's remarkable. And I'm not using that word in a positive connotation. But yeah, there's more to come.
But it could be a positive connotation, you know, in terms of it being upheld because of the reasoning. Because it is valid reasoning that has been upheld.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm talking about, it's remarkable that they did what.
Okay, got you. Okay.
You know, and the science they used, and what's even more appalling is the fact that 2 of these 3 new justices, you have Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and you have Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch are on tape during their confirmation hearings saying under oath that they agree with the precedents utilized to undergird and uphold Roe v. Wade. You're on tape saying it, that you're going to uphold it. You get in the chair, and what do? So my brothers and sisters, let's stop acting like they're going to play fair.
No.
I think we've been waiting to have a fair fight with the Republican Party. You're not. So you just got to start playing the way they play the game. Start by getting galvanized and trying to put people in power that identify with your particular beliefs and your ideologies, because they're not playing fair. The whole reason why you have that is because of what Mitch McConnell did with Merrick Garland's confirmation from President Barack Obama. He held them out on purpose so we can have this particular situation happen. So the big winner of this was Mitch McConnell. And I would say, if that's how they want to play the game, we have to, this thing about somebody got to be noble, I'm sorry. There's no fair fights in the world that I was taught.
We've been sold nobility, haven't we?
We have.
My goodness.
By a bunch of wretches.
We've been sold nobility.
By wretches.
Oh, man, we some spiritual people.
Man.
Oh,
you know,
God.
So, yeah, to your point, there's more to come. They already talked about same-sex marriage. They already talked about looking at other, even James Cornyn got a tweet out there talking about looking at Plessy versus Ferguson. So I think, why would they look at Brown versus Board of Education?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they look at separate but equal issues at this particular point? They don't care.
Ivan, so what is all this about? So what is this about then, Ivan? Why are they even doing this at this time? What is this all about?
They're trying to divide and conquer.
Come on now.
They're dividing and conquering. They're literally trying to do whatever they can to wedge a gap within this country. And they don't want to make it about party anymore. And I don't think they're hiding that they're trying to make it about party.
Okay.
This is not about party. This is about ethnicity.
So just say what it is. What is
this is about ethnicity. This is about religion. This is about feeling as if something that they believe that is completely and all theirs is slipping away from them, and they don't want that to happen.
Who is they?
Our government that be, our conservatives, our white people.
White men, to be specific. That's where he wants to go. White men. See, he wants you to say it. So I'm going to go ahead and co-sign for you. White men. White men.
I just want the audience to know who is they.
White men.
Yeah. The same opposite day when they say they. The same opposite. But so, and white men are specifically, because there's a study that has been done that says that by 2052 or 2053, I can't remember which year, that if the birth rate goes at its exact same progression as it has, that they will no longer be the majority in this country. And see, and I don't want to get too far off.
You already in the deep
No,
end.
we're gonna go there.
You're in 8 feet, my guy.
But religious organizations knows that you're never actually going to be able to convert enough to be number one. You can only do it by birth rate. And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to have control. I don't want to say that's what the religious organizations are trying to do, but they want to have control by birth rate. And by doing so, let's slow down this pipeline on how easy it is to get an abortion, because it's not going to stop happening. And then I also believe that they're going to make it a centralized location where you can only go to this specific place to actually get it done, because it's extremely big business, because those stem cells can heal cancer.
You talking to that, ain't you?
The things that we don't talk about. I just saw a video recently where it was a couple white men speaking with a group of black women, asking them for their eggs, because they found ways to be able to, I think, be able to take melanin out, something that actually helps to push that agenda even further. So it's about separating this country and trying to take back what you think is slipping away from you. Because they can see the climate, they can see the change, they know what's happening, and no longer will the people that I call myself will just shadow away and not know who they are. We know who we are.
Man, that's a beautiful thing, ain't it?
We know who we are. We know what it is that we actually can do. We understand our own power now. And that's the thing that they've been trying to keep from us for so many years, why they wouldn't let us open up books, why they kept us closed in situations where we could not actually.
This is your podcast, Ivan. Keep going, Ivan.
Certain places. This is what they did. They tried to cage us, and now that we're no longer in a position to not know who we are, they're afraid, because they already know what takes place. This is part of the reason why Europe no longer actually buys into that.
Keep going. Nah, we're going to listen to you, my guy. Keep going.
The thing is like they know it's simple science. There's a progressive trait and a regressive trait. You know which one you have. So in order for you to actually be able to further your cause, you're going to do everything by any means necessary to do it. Not to quote Malcolm X on that, but that's what they're trying to do right now. And so now we have to stand up and do by any means necessary as well. And I know a lot of women probably feel attacked right now because of what's taking place. They're not going to completely do away with this thing. So, yeah, your rights are being very much restricted, but they're not going to do away with it, because this was not for everybody. This was not for everybody. So.
She wear your hair like that all the time. That's really good. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, maybe I shouldn't say anything else.
Well, he can go a little bit further as well. I mean, back in the older podcast, we kind of broke down that the majority of people who are on government assistance are white people.
Come on.
And the majority of those white people are women, right? Because the assumption and narrative is black men don't take care of the baby. When in fact, it's really white men. Because white women get the most government assistance in this particular country. Now, this is not a beat up on white people or white women kind of deal. It is facts that we're trying to spit. 60% of abortions are with white women.
Say that again, Keegan, because I don't think they know that.
The narrative is we get them. No. 60%
Dum.
of abortions are with white women.
Dum, 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 dum.
So to Ivan's point, I need to protect my birth rate. Because, to your point, I'm not going to have the majority in this country in the future. And that was opened up by a white woman, Miss Jane Elliott, powerful sister, who tells truth.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the question becomes, how do you address that if it does impact you negatively? Because the reality is you did have a right taken away from you, right? And you gotta look at how you address that. And I think the voting booth is a starting point, in my opinion, because that's how you lost it, which was in the voting booth. But to your point, Ivan, this was never about us. This was about them.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. And this is why we talked about a little bit off camera that I don't believe anything changes until we revolt completely. And I don't mean, and it got to be bloody, but not the blood you're thinking about.
But not physical, to your point.
Not physical blood. Keegan, how much money do we put into the America's economy?
Now it's up to $1.5 to $2 trillion a year.
Say it again.
1.5 to $2 trillion a year.
That's the war. That's the war. That's the war.
Yep.
You take that money, take our money collectively out of society and put it into black-owned businesses only, build black hospitals, build black grocery stores, elite grocery stores, put it into that, then we make the laws that we want because now we have a infrastructure, a collective infrastructure. Because this is the real solution. This is where men help. This is where we can be of assistance to that. Now we got to be bulls economically as well.
Gotcha.
Now we're not chasing the bag just to chase the bag to flash and show people we got it. We chase it to buy lobbyists, to buy political votes. See, stuff like that that change, and we can maintain the structure of life that we want. That's where it starts. Now, until we revolt, nothing won't change.
Good point.
And we got to be willing to get behind the cause.
Absolutely.
We got to be willing to get behind the cause. You don't have to shop at Walmart. I don't. You don't. You don't have to go to Target. And just because Target puts a few, why does Target really put a few black-owned businesses in there?
Ivan, I don't know if I want to. I want to sound hypocrite. I go to Target.
Hey, that's fine. But
Okay.
why do you think? Why do you think? Why do you think they put those few black businesses?
You're right. Absolutely.
Even Jeff Bezos, even before he actually exited as CEO, was making it a priority to actually have black-owned products on Amazon. There's a reason. They $1.5 trillion to $2 trillion
A year.
That's wild.
Nielsen. I mean, we can pull up the Nielsen report. I mean, it shows it. That's where you find that information. Every year, we can't. Why do we keep dumping? Why do we keep taking all? Why do we keep? It's like the Bible says. Boy, I hate to go there, but it says.
No, you don't. Go ahead.
We keep taking money and putting it in a pocket with holes in it.
Come on now.
You're taking it and you're dropping it into an empty place because it's never coming back to you. It's a tool. It's supposed to circulate. It's not supposed to just leave. It's supposed to circulate.
Come on, Ivan. This is your podcast. No, this is your podcast. This is your podcast, my guy.
No
Go.
We just gotta be willing to get behind the cause. Stop getting behind. And look, I'm not telling you that these other causes don't mean anything. I'm not going to go into them, but I'm not going to say they don't mean anything. But the real cause is, guess what? You are black first. For any of you that are listening that are black, you're going to always be black first. And that's not something that you get to choose to be or something that you can change to be. So start acting like that's where we actually need to be and come collectively together, because that's the only way we're going to be able to get to the place where we need to be. It's a revolt. And no, it don't have to be violent. We ain't got to do. All we got to do is, hey, I know a sister that does T-shirts. Hey, I know somebody that actually makes different types of soap. It starts off small, and as we
because that's not as idealistic. That's reality.
Right.
You can do it. It's a little bit of work.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as going to Walmart. It's not as easy as going to Tarjay Keegan. Like you go all the time. Keegan ain't woke.
Easy.
or you can't get that discount because they're making it with products that we don't need to be putting on our body anyway.
Different conversation.
But it starts what you just said. It starts with small incremental growth. My nonprofit is called Kaizen Incorporated, and I got the name Kaizen because
Plug. Let's go.
Because what happened is that back in the 70s when they blew up Hiroshima, the Japanese created a philosophy called Kaizen, and it was coined because they were trying to rebuild a country. Incremental growth, incremental continuous growth, small little things, little small gestures. But the main component in this, Keegan, was continuous.
Yeah.
Just continuous growth. I don't care if it was a small little incremental step. The goal was in this philosophy was to make sure there was something always happening. Even if it felt insignificant at the time, it was happening.
Yeah.
I know it's idealism that we're talking about overhauling one tree and all in one day. No, we got habits. We're not a podcast. We're not trying to sell you a dream or a hope. We're not doing that. I want to make it clear that we can't take the whole tree out at one time. That would be great. No. That would be something that would be idealistic. That would be ideal. But the reality is we got habits. We got needs. We're accustomed to.
How much would it be if we got 0.5%, Steve?
It'll be a lot. A lot.
It's over. It's
$1 billion.
It's $1 billion.
Well, half a percent would be 500 million.
500 million.
Yeah.
So $500 million. 1%. I mean 0.5%.
You said something, and you can go kicking that really hit home. We got to get back down with the cause. 60s, 70s, where it wasn't cool to tweet it. It was no Twitter, obviously, but it was a lifestyle. Being an activist, being somebody that fought for our community. That was the first thing we did. That's how we got here. I want to remind us, all of this that's going on, all this technology, because somebody sacrificed their life in order for you to have a better one, Keegan.
Yeah.
See, that can happen for real. Where we stop making activism something that these people over here do when all of us can collectively do it. Because now we're starting to see. That's why I asked the question to begin with. It won't stop here. If they're willing to take away this and even use religious bounds to take it away, to get their country back, the perceived image of the country that they wanted at the forefront, come on.
It's interesting that they use religion for that, but they also use religion to justify slavery. I just hope people see how far we're regressing and to know to get in the right line.
Facts.
Instead of getting behind, if we just do this with that. No, let's just do us. I don't think Malcolm could have said, he said it best. I don't have a quarrel against you. I just want to be able to have the exact same thing as you.
I don't want to be equal to you. I want the equity. I want equity. I want what I put in.
Right.
That's it. That's it. I want reparations. I want what we're owed. Gotcha. I don't want anything else. We don't have to hang together. Although, and I'm not talking about. I always say this, and I want to clarify this. This is not white people. We're talking about white supremacy. We're talking about racism. We're talking about blatant things that's happened to our community over the time, and now more things continue to keep happening to hinder our community that affect our women. And we got to be protectors. And the way we protect, we got to be willing to put our life on the line.
Yeah, no question.
We do. Our resources, our time. But we always want to lounge and be comfortable. I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
It's always about it. We always self-absorbing. I think it starts with the men in terms of leadership, Keegan. It starts with me and you.
Yeah.
What are we doing to change it? Because I know we can vote, but it got to be more.
Well, I mean, voting is one tool,
Absolutely.
right? I only keep saying that because I want to make sure that the tool that's there we do use. That's one. But you was talking about earlier about the philosophy of Kaizen. You know, I think about what Aristotle quoted. He said that you are what you repeatedly do.
Come on.
Therefore,
Come on.
excellence is not an event. It's a habit.
Come on, Keegan.
So those things you do every single day. So what Kaizen represents is small incremental growth. I'm going somewhere with this, right? So you can sustain incremental growth. It's easy. You can't sustain seismic shifts, right? Because you can't replicate that. You cannot replicate that. But if it's incremental, if I'm pursuing my North Star and I'm moving toward my North Star every single day in small steps, I will get there eventually. And I'm also moving in that direction in a small incremental fashion. That is sustainable. You also can replicate it. Here's where I'm going to go with this for a second. What they did a good job of was controlling what's called demand products. I own a biz that actually sells the demand product. It's called insurance. You got to have it. You can't say no. You can't not buy it if you want to be legal on the streets. You want to ride dirty. I know you ride dirty. I get it. But if you don't want to ride dirty, you got to buy it.
My name is Keegan.
So it's a demand product. They have taken ownership of every demand product there is. So think about this for a second. How many black-owned energy companies are? Water companies, utility companies. Duke, Dominion Energy, they're not owned by us.
At all.
Those are demand products. You got to have them, right? Right. I think about family companies like SC Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. We don't own toiletry companies like toothpaste.
Say that again.
Right? So in your demands, you got to buy those things. So we got to start with where we have non-demand expenditures.
That's good,
i.e. discretionary spending, disposable income. We got to start there. So to your point, I say this all the time. You can choose your doctor, choose a black doctor. Choose your dentist, Your real estate agent, your CPA, your dry cleaner, your insurance agent. Where you have
Pluggy?
Pluggy.
Come on, Pluggy.
Where you have a choice, choose black.
Absolutely.
You can control where your dollar goes and your discretionary and disposable income. So you can actually get the apparatus to actually control demand industry, like black grocery stores, right? Like black energy companies. Hell, let's start and build a black insurance company, right? We got some black banks out there already.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have to start building out the apparatus that we want in the future, right? But until then, start what you can control, which is your discretionary income. And that's where that small incremental growth that the Kaizen philosophy is built on. And you're going to do it over the course of time. It's going to be for your kids and your kids' kids, right? It ain't just for you. You're building out something for, it's not just an event, right? It's a habit you're going to give to the next generation to continue pushing forward so we can have something in the future.
And that requires us supporting each other.
No question.
Not just in chaos or when something like this happens, but just when it's not sexy to
a consistency.
Yeah. Like when George Floyd happened, there was this galvanizing train, like everybody was there because, there was a reason. It's like when you go to funerals or if somebody passed away, you get this epiphany about how valuable life is. We got to now figure out that life is valuable even on our everyday basis. It has to be on a Monday, a Tuesday, or Wednesday. We have to get used to being advocates for our culture. Like it can't be just, something cool to say for people to look like cool like your hair. Like we can't be just for that. It has to be like, seriously, we have to be committed to this. And even I'm even questioning myself, like, where am I at? And I had to sit down with myself, how much am I really doing for my community? How much am I really giving to my community? How much am I really investing into learning, studying, being educational about this? I ain't talking about, just everybody go get woke and have a big debate about black history. Not that. And what's the best way to get to this destination? But we gotta put our differences to the side.
And I think we gotta stop feeding into the excuse of, man, I went to this place and it wasn't right yet. Man, you go to McDonald's. You've been going to McDonald's for the last 40 years. And they're never
They
going to be
get
right
worse, and
consistently.
McDonald's gets worse every. They get worse.
They get so much worse, and they make so much more money. Now, it's almost as if you like pain. Not you.
I think we all like that. But McDonald's getting a hell of a promotion.
But, you know, black people have an unhealthy relationship with trauma. We really do, and it feeds a victimhood complex, unfortunately. So yeah, we like the pain because you get to lean on it a little bit. This is my excuse. I can't go forward because of what you did to me, and I get to live there. I don't want to live there no more.
Yeah.
I just don't.
And I think we're going to be. I think even those who do that now with all these things happening are going to be forced to come out of that cocoon and really fight now, because now when things, it's cool when you see a isolated event that happens that doesn't affect you directly, but when things start affecting your everyday life and you start to see why it's affecting you, you're gonna survive. And I think we have to get ahead of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to change before we have to change.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
got to do that. We got to get ahead of the curve, and we have to really. This is why,
That's
man.
good,
like,
Steve.
Man, this is so important, man. Like this is real, and I'm glad you say for the cause. When you said that, it really triggered something in me because, man, we have to almost be militant in our approach to our freedom, because we're not just fighting for our way and right. We're fighting for our children.
Yes.
I want to see my little girls grow up in a world to where they don't have to have the discussion, where they can purely use what we taught them and use their intelligence and explore the world and find out and be better human beings. I genuinely want that for my kids, and I'm genuinely ready to die for that right for them. So what's the best way we can approach this, Ivan? How can we galvanize as people? How can we put down the cloak of religion? How can we put down the cloak of this social club? How can we put down the cloak of what happened to me yesterday? And any excuse that can be there and say, we got to lock arms at this moment right now. We got to lock arms, like, and not against white people. Like, we need white people with us. We have to lock arms to go to the right places in life, to be able to get what we need to get for our community.
Yeah, we always say, Steve, pro-black is not synonymous with anti-white.
It's not.
And so they're not going to take that narrative from us. I'm not going to even do that.
Absolutely.
But, you said something earlier about the cause. Changing the culture is a huge undertaking, right? So let me just change my center of influence. The folks I can connect with, I got to impact them. I can't impact people in the state, but I'm going to impact people who are around me.
And that's the impact.
That's where you start.
That's
where
and
you
I think
start.
that's the only, and we've drilled it down to a micro conversation. That's the only thing you can do.
Exactly.
See, I'm not talking about having a big rally and coming out into the middle of the street. I'm talking about the people around you empower what you can touch.
Mm-hmm. No question.
And then what's going to happen is they going to empower somebody that they can touch. Then those other people going to, and then you see how that works. Yeah. Then you're going to inadvertently, somebody taught Obama that never got credit. Mm-hmm. There was a teacher that inspired him.
Absolutely.
There was somebody on the side of the road that said something to him. There was somebody that did something that inspired the first black president to ever walk the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying? There was somebody who inspired Martin Luther King. There was a lady. There was somebody walking down the street. There was somebody picking up trash. Nobody's insignificant. Everybody is a part of the journey. Mm-hmm. So we got to realize the people that are around you, treat them right, love them. Yeah. Man, I've been intentional. I've been intentional about treating the people around me with respect and dignity.
Mm-hmm. And you said something really good, Steve. Let's stop waiting for it to be something that's in our backyard, and let's get ahead of it. That's good. That's good. Because when we get to the point where it's directly affecting you, it's already too late.
It's already too late. Now now the conversation about abortion, we're in a reactionary mode. We're in go vote. We got to do this. We're in see what happening to us. Then we got people playing the victim. Then we got people, oh my God. Then we got people fussing back and forth. Now we're in we didn't have the power to control it. That was the whole thing. It doesn't matter. Listen, he who has the goal makes the rules. Mm-hmm. And somebody, because of, they've been started, King, when did this process start? This didn't just happen. How long
No.
ago was this put in place for this to be overturned?
Yeah, so
break it down.
I'll tell you. You talked about, you used the word militant. They're militant.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And so Barack Obama appointed or picked Merrick Garland to be his Supreme Court justice when he was the president. It is his right. He's supposed to go through a hearing for confirmation. Mitch McConnell, who was the Senate majority leader, said no. Militant. I'm not going to do it. For no other reason was, I don't want to do it for you. Simple. He who has a goal
Makes the rules.
makes the rules. So he said, no, we're not going to do it. I don't care about tradition. No, we're not going to do it. And so when that man did not get picked, when Trump got in office, he had 3 justices to put on the court.
He did.
They got the majority. And they've been pushing this abortion for a minute. They got the majority. This is where we're at. So we go through that process to understand, one, stop trying to be noble. They're not fighting fair. Stop waiting for it to happen. They're not. They done proven that. We got to figure out how we're going to fight dirty as well. That's one. The second thing is, I would say, talk about voting. Voting is one tool. Pulling our money together. Let's start some PACs.
Come on.
Political action committees. To actually start getting our own
Absolutely.
candidates in gear for us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about Democratic. I'm talking about us.
Yes,
Us.
absolutely.
Us.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because we can do that. And that don't require big dollars. You ain't got to be billionaires for that. We can start with small community funding for that kind of stuff. And I'm not talking about even I'm talking about state and local politics, city council, school board, state legislators. All that stuff matters. So working together for that particular point of view. But I would say it started back. That's when it actually hit the fan, when he did it with Merrick Garland, as far as the abortion thing. That's the whole reason why he did it. For that particular reason. And he got what he was looking for. Came a while later, but he got it.
And we got such a hard time Stockholm syndrome we got with facing our oppressor head on and telling them what we is, but we won't. We will throw, if you do something wrong, egregious, we'll throw you away and never trust you again.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, R. Kelly got 30 years in prison for his, heinous crimes. And they were heinous. Let's call it for what it is. They were heinous. And R. Kelly is one of the greatest. He is the greatest R&B singer of all time to me. To me, he is. I would argue, I would say R. Kelly is, who has a better voice? Who has hit for hit? Who is, R. Kelly has never missed at anything he did musically. Right or wrong.
Yeah.
His voice was made, listen, bro, unbelievable talent, which is probably why he got away with doing what he was doing for so long. But nevertheless, what he did was egregious, but he was a great talent. But I want to get to, we've always had this conversation, Keegan, and why I said earlier, we will continue to do business with somebody we know we have no harm, that got harm for us. But when a brother falls, and he did fall, and he did exactly what they said he did, he's no longer worthy for us to even listen to his gift. I don't know how to feel about that. Because and on one hand, I don't want to be insensitive to women. But on the other hand, I'm a human being. And we've all fallen short of the glory of God.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of us. Your falling short just looks different than his.
Absolutely. And wasn't public.
Mm-hmm.
And you seeing the direct effect of what his sin did. See, you sometimes get the grace not to see what you did to people. You may do something to somebody and it's a residual effect that you don't get to see. But he got to see his in public. So we judge him harshly. Now, he should be judged harshly. That's why he got 30 years. You get what I'm saying? But why do we do that to our people? Because I don't agree that we should not listen to R. Kelly music anymore. I'm just being honest. I think he makes unbelievable music. And I don't know why we can't separate the gift that God has given him from him giving into his fleshly desires. We're gonna talk, right?
It's hard to get into a morality discussion because that's personal to each person.
It is.
I think where R. Kelly does a disservice to his position is he never accepted accountability. So if you want to sit here and go down swinging, I did nothing wrong, y'all coming to get me, y'all are my enemy and stuff like that, that's where it's hard to kind of say,
But let's also be fair. How many people that sit in the courtroom that did what they said they did plead guilty? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, no.
Most people be like, I didn't do it.
Some people plead out.
They don't say they plead out for a reason, but what I'm saying is that of course he's not going.
To that point, but that's what I'm saying. It's hard for me to sit here and say, I can't celebrate you when I know you did wrong and you keep arguing you did right. I just can't do that. That's what I'm saying. I can't argue the morality in it. I just can't do that. Now, listening to his music and celebrating him is two different things.
That's what. I'm
not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not going to do that.
But a lot of people have done that, though.
I think so. But you know what, Steve? They have a right to that because you don't know what his act might have meant for them. And
I agree with do whatever you do individually, but when you put a blanket and make it a general that you shouldn't be doing it, and that if you still listen, like if you make it bad for somebody else, that's what I'm talking about. And that's what ended up happening. Like he's canceled. No. Like we can no longer. That's what the cancel culture. He's canceled. So why are you listening? No, the gift came from God, not him.
So to your point, just because Ibis says he's not going to steal me, I don't have to follow that. You know, that's just me not being a sheep.
Oh yeah.
Right. You know, but I have to say this: like, you did something wrong that was extraordinarily wrong. I'm even going to move away from sin. Like, you hurt people on purpose.
No question.
Right. And so if you're going to say and continue to say that I did nothing wrong, they're out to get me, it's hard for me to say, okay, I'm going to continue to rock with you when you're not even accepting the accountability that comes along with what you did. Now, I get it. You're not going to get on stage and say, you know what, I did it. I did it. I get that, but I'm not going to say I can't celebrate you either. I can't celebrate you.
You know, my biggest problem, which puts me in a compromising situation, whether or not if I want to still continue to listen and enjoy the music, is even though he was not found guilty, this was a second time.
Yeah.
And so my thing is how many passes do you get?
Whoa, you say he wasn't found guilty?
No, the first time when he went to trial and things like that, and made a whole album about not being guilty. And so it's like, okay, so we can move on from this. But because the bigger issue is, it took place. Help somebody get some, so that we don't actually find ourselves here today wondering whether or not if we're going to judge you by your acts or we're going to judge you by your gift. And it's not fair. It's not fair to him. Because, technically, David, what do we judge him by? Do we judge him by his acts or do we judge him by his gift? And honestly, I think he gives a little bit of both, though.
He does.
He gets a little bit of both. And so it just makes it difficult.
It's okay to judge. It's okay to discern the act, because I don't believe you should judge anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Judge not, yet ye be judged by the same measure.
Absolutely.
So I believe you can say that was wrong. That's what I'm saying. He got 30 years. He broke the law. He got 30 years. His freedom is taken away. There's nothing worse than prison. I don't think I've never been dead, so I don't know. But prison, I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't wish death on anybody either, but he's paid for it. And You know, when I look at somebody like R. Kelly, and I don't want to do no, he was heard, that's why he did it. I don't think that's why he did it. I think sometimes you talked about this, you know, being known by your integrity. You know, we got to stop passing people along.
Yeah.
When you see people in your circle and you see people around you that's distributing toxic behavior or bad behavior, and you pass them along because they got talent instead of, you know, holding them accountable for their actions. See, that's another way we can help grow each other. Accountability within your circle. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The people you're with. You got to stop passing people along. Don't pass me along, fellas. If I'm bugging, tell me I'm fucking, ooh.
Yeah, Mama Talbert, you heard it.
Oh, man. Tell me I'm bugging. Tell me I'm bugging. You know, those are the things that grow. That's the cause. The cause ain't just saying, hey, no, we won't go. That's not the cause. That is a visual. That's not the cause. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about accountability. I'm talking about economic groups in your circle. I'm talking about helping each other's life be better. Because when you get into a better position in life, you have the time to see what's going on.
True.
You can watch political stuff because you're not burdened down by your debts. You're not burdened down by not having community support. All of those things come along with us helping each other.
Mm-hmm. And I would say too, when you're in that kind of powerful position, you're going to surround yourself with people who are going to co-sign.
Yes.
Right. So we had people co-signing what he was doing. So you're not going to surround some people who are going to hold you accountable. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I say, you know, it's. I'm not going to throw the basketball. I'm just not going to say I'm going to cancel him because that man deserves grace like anybody else does. But he has to be held accountable for what he did, right? And part of the accountability is, one, you go to jail, but two, I'm not going to celebrate you anymore.
No,
because I can't. I'm not going to. If I hold the man up, I'm holding up his actions as well, and I just can't do that, right? Now, what I would say is, on a broader scale, I'm tired of letting the media tell me how bad me and my people are for the same things you do.
Absolutely.
So, Ghislaine Maxwell got 20 years.
20 years for
helping Epstein with his sex trafficking. So, tell the full story.
And it was it's probably larger than R. Kelly.
No. Hold on.
No,
it was.
Probably.
No,
I'm being facetious.
There's no probably.
I'm being facetious.
It absolutely was.
They could only prove a certain number of counts, and they actually had pulled back, I think, 2 counts because they was put on the same charge. But that whole scheme was, R. Kelly was one man. They was doing work for politicians, for celebrities, for business owners. Like, that was a full
presidents.
Yes, presidents.
Ain't gonna call a name because I don't.
So that was a much larger issue, and she got 20, not 30. You know, so I would say tell the whole story.
Yeah.
And we got to stop letting people sell us that we're the only ones out here doing things like that, because we're not.
I would employ us to let's stop crucifying each other in front of the company.
No question.
Absolutely.
In front of company, stop.
Yeah.
And
I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
You go to their house, fight, do whatever you got to do, talk about them, but we can't we don't have the luxury, we don't have the capital, we don't have the resources right now to be divided.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
You know, and just one thing to Keegan's point, Keegan, I think they do it 2 or 3 times even more. It's
Facts.
just not talked about.
Facts.
And when we stop watching any of these movies?
Come on, Ivan. Come on, Ivan.
And what? And no conviction. And it's proven that these women have said this. He's not even denying it. And so we gotta. You're right, Steve. We gotta stop. Why are we nailing our own against the cross?
That's wild.
Yeah, we're talking about canceling Bill Cosby, but Harvey Weinstein movie's still playing.
Right.
Still getting royalties.
Here's what this is why I brought it up. Here's what we allow the national media to do is to make our best and brightest monsters.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just say what they did. They paint the picture. They make the documentaries. They make the stories. They get the black people that sit on the stories and tell you how about their interactions and how monstrous this person really is. Like if a camera was like think about this. Like if somebody seen your closet and you at home behind closed doors, they might say the same thing about you. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying doing those things, but if somebody see you in your worst moment, you don't look real. If I seen you screaming at home or fussing at your kids or having an argument with your wife, I would probably say, oh, Alvin is not the guy that I seen with the big hair giving the inspirational speeches.
But to you, that's a great point, Steve.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think about guys like Woody Allen is still producing movies.
Yes.
You know, he molested and married his stepdaughter. Kevin Spacey is still acting right now.
That's a wild thing.
And he molested a young man.
House of Cards was good. I'm gonna be honest.
It's a great
I'm
show.
glad they ain't catching for then. I ain't nothing. Y'all get me out of this podcast.
But you know,
I love House of Cards.
You think about sports. You know, we Kobe Bryant got crucified by one of our own after his death in an interview with Lisa Leslie. Yet we don't talk about Ben Roethlisberger
at all.
At all. Like he didn't do anything. Like at some point in time, tell their story like they tell ours. You know, that's all I'm saying. Let's be equitable.
And you know why? Because it's it's purposeful for. See, they're reminding America. They want to remind us in America what they think, but they want to try to show and project to the rest of the world.
No question. That's true. That's
the
true.
projection that they want to make to the rest of the world is that's them. Mm-hmm. It's really them.
Yeah.
When no, it was them all along. Mm-hmm. And so that's why these things are always highlighted in media. Because I mean, when did we ever care about the fact of what somebody's sentence is actually going to be? Yeah, okay. Oh man, he got 30 years. Why is that something that's big news? Why is it not big news that some of these other guys are actually still directing right now, acting right now, and singing right now, or we're still playing football, and we don't ever talk about it.
Never talk about it.
It doesn't even come up in conversation.
Because here's what galvanized communities understand. You're not the sum total of one decision. And your equity and your value to our community far outseeds what we're not gonna do. That we're not gonna crucify you, so we're gonna protect you, but we're gonna scold you and we're gonna bring you behind closed doors and we're gonna scold you. But what we do is we put you on the cross and we nail you. You never come back.
They even went after Felicia Rashad for standing behind him.
Yeah,
was for standing behind Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild to me.
Or better yet, she just wouldn't say anything.
Right.
She just wanted to stay neutral.
Right.
Like her, Lisa Bonet, they didn't want to say anything. You know, they got crucified because they didn't want to actually speak out against the man. You know, but they've been doing this since Birth of a Nation, the original Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
This is tactical by them, so it's nothing new. They've been doing this since then. You know, so I don't expect them to change. I want us to change.
I just want us to change. We can listen. I listen. This was egregious. Let me not mince my words. This was something heinous. This was absolutely unacceptable at every level. No excuses whatsoever at all. And he should pay for that. But there was still every human being deserves to have their life painting in full. Not just this portion of your life, not just that portion. Paint the whole picture so you can tell the whole story. Because it would be a tragedy to tell this story only in this context without telling that part of the story. Because that mattered. That brought on the responsibility of being responsible for your actions. Because your gift did bring you to such a public specter to where you gained a lot of power. So there is another level of responsibility. Now, I agree with don't celebrate him, but don't demonize people who want to listen to his music.
No.
Yeah.
You can't impose that on other
You can't
people.
do that.
Pray for the man. Pray that R. Kellys aren't duplicated in our community because we continue to silence men. Because we continue not to believe men. Because men can't be expressive. Because men can't talk. This is not a reason why he did those things. He did those things because he did those things. I don't know why, but he did them. I'm not making excuses. All I'm saying is what is the solution now to not have more R. Kellys in our community, not have more guys so delusional, so narcissistic that they think that's okay?
Well, I would say this, and because I'm a hold people accountable. You said hold you accountable, actually hold me accountable as well. So I don't. When you look at my tombstone, I don't control the date before the dash or the date after the dash. I control the dash.
Come on.
So when all that time between those two dates, I control what you speak about me in my eulogy. I do. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to give you any reason to lie about me or lie for me. I control that dash. Right? So I got to walk and behave in the manner I expect my kids to, and I want you to look up at me and believe I am. I control that. So when I step out of bounds, I got to take accountability for that. That's on me. So I will say to men, hey, be accountable.
Yeah.
You always talk about women submit. Give them something to submit
Absolutely.
to.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Man, listen,
That's a
I
bar.
can tell you
Plain
from
and simple.
experience,
That's a bar.
that's the real thing.
Plain and simple.
And this is standing up and protecting our women and this from things like R. Kelly, things like the abortion rights, whatever it is. These are just examples of how we got to get back in leadership in our community.
No question.
I've had a tough life lesson with learning that leadership requires sacrifice. It requires you using your necessary resources to make sure that, man, I'm a big proponent of utilitarianism. The greatest good for the greatest number of people.
Yep.
And that's where we are right now, because there's a whole world of people right now that need guidance. And it's going to come from us standing up for what's right, not standing up for vanity, not our insecurities. Man, we got to we got to go through the process.
Yeah.
We got to go through this. We got to go ahead and go through it, bro, and deal with the emotions we deal with so we can be healed men. We talked about this, bro. Us being healed, our women get healed. Our women don't have to fight these battles because we're politically astute, because we're financially astute, because we're spiritually astute, because we can stand firm in our own home and deliver that message and be pastors of our homes, be, the leadership in our homes. And I'm speaking to myself. I had to speak to myself about that. And I'm telling you, accountability comes with great rewards.
It does.
People think accountability is about, no, that comes with rewards.
Yeah, it's not just punishment.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Sacrifice comes with the greatest reward. Watch
Right.
Jesus. Look at my homeboy Jesus.
Yeah.
Think about it. Many men who sacrificed, Gandhi, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of these guys who sacrifice. And that's what it takes, the leadership of us men to sacrifice. That's what this is all about for us, man. Ivan, this was your podcast. I'm going to be honest.
Triple double.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. Tim, I don't know if you can get his shoes. I don't know if you can get his shoes. I want you to zoom on the shoes. It was the hair and it was the shoes. Look at the shoes. And my guy's shoe game is crazy. And what's your page? What's it called?
Kicks and Knowledge.
Tell them about it a little bit before we go.
Kicks and Knowledge is a page that wants to bridge the gap for your everyday sneakerhead lover, or your sneakerhead, somebody that loves sneakers, but also loves getting different types of information. So it's a page that's talks about different sneakers and different books that you can use to increase your level of
Greatest sneaker of all time, since you got a sneaker
greatest
page.
sneaker of all
time.
The greatest sneaker of all time.
All time. What's the
Not
most
my favorite, but the greatest.
What's the most sought after sneaker of all? Let me ask the question.
The Chicago Jordan 1. It's not even.
Hold on, I gotta ask Tim. Is that correct?
It's not even. Yeah, it's not even close.
How hard is it to get that shoe?
We'll find out in October.
They're releasing it.
They're coming out with a re-image in October 7th or something like that. It's gonna be my birthday present. I'm getting them. I'm getting 3 pairs.
Are they gonna come out? They're gonna be retail, or they gonna be?
Oh no, they're gonna come out. So they're gonna come out. They're gonna release as retail. It's a re-image. It's not the. It's not the exact same one. It's got the top of it. It actually has a cracked leather. They actually they textured the bottom to make it look like it was worn. They also added other textured levels leather to the mid and the upper on it too, just to give it a old school feel.
What's the resale value if you got the original shoe?
The original Chicago one, right around about 4,500.
Oh, so you know you're a sneakerhead. So you a sneaker kind of like trying to test you.
Connoisseur, bro.
I know Tim. I know Tim is a sneakerhead.
Yeah.
Tim was like he been a sneakerhead for a minute.
Yeah.
He probably had like 1,000 pair of like shoes one day. He didn't pay his rent. He just had shoes. I was like, why are you living in your car? He's like, gotta get them shoes. I'm just kidding. Negroes, I'm just kidding. This is a great podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Ivan, this was definitely yours, my guy.
Oh, man.
I want you to listen, bro. When you talking like that, we unstoppable. You keep showing up late. I guess just keep showing up late like you did.
Why you airing dirty laundry? We just
Man,
talked
I've been
about
always
that.
late,
we
man.
just talked about that. We just talked about that.
Since it's
bro.
your podcast, you tell people where to go to. It's your podcast today.
Tell them where to go.
Yeah.
Follow us on YouTube, the Deep Surface Pod. Follow us on Instagram, Deep Surface Pod. And just go ahead and click that like button when you get those videos coming across. Make sure you give a thumbs up on all the videos when they come through. We need this one. Hey, guess what? The first place where you can support is by supporting this podcast.
No doubt.
Listen, that better be though. How do you do that better than me? You do that. Listen, we out of here. You do that better than me. Listen, you are the official spokesman person. Listen, I want y'all to listen to me. You are now the official spokesperson for the deep. And you got to do that hair. You the spokesperson. My God. Listen, boy, God moves in mysterious ways. Listen, bro. You need friends who is just as enthusiastic about your business as you are.
Absolutely.
That's what you really need. That's what support is. That wasn't money exchange. That was energy. That was support. Man, come on, man.
That was love, bro.
Listen, bro, we out of here. Ivan, you delivered a classic. I'm gonna be honest with you.